the first answer is never the right answer. Don't randomly go in and say, I want AI to do this. Take an output and make that output the next input. AI, data is everything. Right now, the data is skewed. The bias already exists. Good to see everyone. This is the last of my 3-part series. How exciting is this new age of AI? Today's session is very specifically on how to use it for branding and how to use it in your meetings. I say this a lot, and I want to sort of say it again. I believe artificial intelligence will easily be the biggest conversation of our lifetime. Today, what we're going to do is a bunch of techniques, tricks, and some tactics. I'm going to show you like 3 really cool tools for content and editing. Now, with artificial intelligence, you can augment your intelligence in a way that it allows you to use your intelligence in a very creative manner. So think about augmentation rather than replacement.
Hey, it's Ronsley. Welcome, you AI geek, to Amplify AI. Consider this podcast your digital compass for you, the business leader wanting to use artificial intelligence ethically and in alignment with your brand's identity to achieve your business goals. Leading and running a business in the world of AI is like solving a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But this podcast and I are here to make that easy. Every episode is a masterclass in unlocking techniques for using AI as a business leader, founder, owner. Thanks for being here. Let's learn.
Today's session is very specifically on how to use it for branding and how to use it in your meetings. I say this a lot, and I want to sort of say it again. I believe artificial intelligence will easily be the biggest conversation of our lifetime. And you can see the effect it's had on a lot of things, including our businesses. It has kind of gone mainstream and has been available for people to use. What we're going to do is a bunch of techniques, tricks, and some tactics. I'm going to show you 3 really cool tools for content and editing and being able to use AI in different forms, because sometimes when you think of AI, you just think of ChatGPT, and that's not necessarily the case. So now with artificial intelligence, you can augment your intelligence in a way that it allows you to use your intelligence in a very creative manner. So think about augmentation rather than replacement. It's not a one or the other. So the first thing I want to start off with is talking about recursive prompting. I will use Claude for this in a particular reason. And I've just taken this from the chat. So I am in commercial real estate, specializing in warehousing and manufacturing, sales and leasing. I want to develop my LinkedIn profile. What is the best way to get started? Now, this is one particular method that can be used where you start with something and then you recursively improve it. So now what it's saying is, okay, if you want to get into this and you want to have a good LinkedIn profile, the first thing to do is have a good LinkedIn profile and consider the following steps. So write a compelling headline, craft an engaging summary, detail your experience. Recursive prompting, if profile is the big one, I'd go here and say, I want to craft. Can you help me do that? Ask me relevant questions so that you can complete this. The recursion in the prompting. The idea here to understand this technique is you take an output and make that output the next input. See here, I'm saying, I want you to do this, but if you don't understand the full context, ask me questions so that you are clear on what I want. Asking you a whole bunch of questions here, which you can totally start responding to, and then it'll start to craft your engaging summary. But you can go further. Say, for example, in ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is different in slightly because ChatGPT can be personalized. So in here, up the top, if you go into customize ChatGPT, I've got custom instructions, and I've been very clear with ChatGPT who I am and what I'm after and how I want it to respond. The reason I'm using it now is because I want to say, help me with LinkedIn and craft an engaging summary. See how it's changed that, obviously, because now it knows it's Ronsley and here's an engaging LinkedIn summary. Now, see how it's aware of my bio and a few other things, and it already has that context inside it. So it has context, and that's why you personalize it inside the customization here. So I'm saying, this is who I am, this is what I care about, these are my values, these are my goals, these are my communication style. And I'm also saying, address me as Ronsley. So that's why, see here, it's actually gone, it's aware. On the same lines, in the GPTs here, see, it says LinkedIn profile enhancer. So this is really interesting. These are AIs built for very specific reasons. You would use something like this if you have a full pro account, and then you would start a chat with that AI and then ask it, like, what makes for a good LinkedIn profile? And then it'll break that whole thing down. Now you give it more context and you give it your bio and you give it all that kind of stuff, and then it'll fill out all these things that need to be done. And you can literally do this in under an hour and have your whole LinkedIn profile ready. For example, I would say here, this is great. Here is my bio. Complete the guide above. And the thing that I'm trying to teach as well in this particular instance is recursive prompting. The first answer is never the right answer in any large language model. And the more you talk to it, the better responses you're going to get. The next thing is doing research. Now, in the GPTs here, you're going to go Scholar, and there's this Scholar GPT. You've got access to over 200 million research papers. So, for example, if you're doing research on any particular topic, this is a really good way to get very good research done. If you were to do this before AI, you would have to go to the library, find these different research papers, read the abstract, find whether they're applicable in this context, and that's how you would apply them. But here, you can go, I'm writing an article on ethical AI for business. What for research studies should I consider? Okay, so this now will go into Scholar GPT, which is Google Scholar, catalogs all research papers. How long would this have taken? It would have taken ages if I had to do this myself. It's gone and found ethical AI, and it's kind of found these particular papers, and it's gone, okay, these are the ones you should consider because these are the topics. This is really, really powerful because not only can you do this like this, but there's another really cool AI called Perplexity AI. It is the combination of search and intelligence. It's really useful to do something like the same here, instead of going into Scholar GPT, doing research like this and going into Perplexity and saying, I'm writing an article, what for research studies should I consider? Now, I'm going to improve this, okay? I'm going to say, first list 12 and then pick your top 4. Think this through step by step and give me a reasoning. Now, that's applying intelligence onto the question you're asking. So see what it's going to do. It's not just going to give you 4 research studies. It's going to first list 12, and then from that 12, it'll make an educated decision on the top 4. And that's why I've asked it to think it through step by step and give me the reasoning. This technique of prompting will give you better results by like a long shot. So have a look at these responses. So it's gone 12, my top 4 picks are this. And then you have to see in here that it's got all the sources. So you can literally go into the sources to check them out and see how far and how good they are. When you're thinking about doing research now, like, you can use some really, really credible resources. The next one I want to do is showing you branding using AI. And one of the things that when you think about branding in general, we don't follow our brand guidelines. When it comes to branding, having brand guidelines and putting it into a bot will allow you to do something like, what are the best colors for our social media graphics? This is really useful when it comes to having a team, or say you're doing content. Or now this has pulled the exact colors and the exact branding from the brand guidelines of Amplify. I could use this for anything. I could use this for a particular message, and I could say, is this message on brand, for example? And that's how you would use AI to help you stay on brand. Use your brand guidelines and then inform AI to be able to help you stay on brand guidelines. You're continuously informing it. Context is everything. The more context it has, the better it can perform. When you're using AI for branding, definitely start with your brand guidelines, because with your brand guidelines and your brand identity, a lot of us don't know how to stick to them. And you can use AI to inform you how to stick to them, whether it comes to copy, whether it comes to email, and to images as well. Processing meetings with AI, if you're not already doing this, you definitely should. And I'll show you an example here. Now, I'm going to go into Claude because the context size is bigger. Assume this is a meeting transcript, but you can say, can you summarize this for me? Give me the action items to perform. You see how what it's done is it's first done a summary, but then it's given action items. As someone who has got a podcast and have just taken this transcript, I can say to my listener, okay, once you've listened to this podcast, here are 5 things that you can potentially do as a result of listening to the podcast. These are the action items. See how quickly it was processed. Can you imagine how long that would have taken if you had to do it on your own? Use transcripts and use AI to be able to learn quickly or understand what exactly. There's another thing that you can do when you have a meeting is you can say, what was covered in the meeting? I be paying attention. And obviously, if it knows your goals, this context is even better. So this was a transcript of a podcast. So it's like there was nothing, there was no meeting mentioned. So definitely use AI that way to process your meetings. Ideating and brainstorming with AI, like a lot of us already do this with your branding. What do you suggest we use, or where do you start with regards to AI? Well, I think the first thing to do is like just say, what are all the elements in brand guidelines? So that way, okay, here. So this is how you're starting from scratch. What is the brand essence? What are the fonts? What are the colors? How to use the logo? These are just like basic guidelines that you should have, every brand should have, so that you're not doing different things. Yeah, so it is very forgiving in the spelling mistakes because it is a large language model, so it's using intelligence, and it's kind of going, I know that you meant this word in the context of what that sentence is. There are 3 main things to consider. There's input, process, and output. So the more you can tell AI what the inputs are, how to process them, and how you want the output, the better results you're going to get. With ideation and brainstorming, for example, here I'm defining customer cohorts, and for me to do it correctly, I want to be able to express it so I'm saying, okay, assume the role of this, and I want the result is a carefully created, like defined customer cohort. And these are the essential things to consider. I want you to first do this and this and this. This is the approach I want. I want you to tailor it like this, and this is who it's for. I am on the ideation front. It's a very comprehensive way to start to ask of ChatGPT. So in this way, you keep ideating and keep recursively brainstorming. So that's ideating and brainstorming with AI. I want to reinforce this. I mentioned this in every other webinar. Process is first. So you first figure out the process and then apply AI to the process. Don't randomly go in and say, I want AI to do this. That's not a very effective way to use artificial intelligence. You say, well, I know this process works like this, and I need your help to do this, 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 this. Then you're augmenting your intelligence with artificial intelligence. Create a brand bot. I showed you what that looked like before. If you're not using the next 3 tools, I'm going to show you really cool ways to do it. Descript is a great tool that can do some phenomenal. One of the powers of using Descript, which you could not do before, is you can just remove filler words. So you can click on that and you can find a whole bunch of filler words and you can say, remove the ums, the ahs, the likes, and it'll go through the whole thing and just edit those things out. That's very, very powerful. So it uses AI for that. You can then remove word gaps. So if there is a time and a place where you speak and you have this long gap, you can shorten them. There's so many powerful things that you can do with AI inside Descript. I have to say, I started doing podcasting when all we had to look at is this waveform here down the bottom. And I could look at a waveform and tell you what waveform is and what waveform is you can take any video and you can put it into a transcript. And now you can edit the transcript. So use Descript for that. The other tool I love using is Otter. It is absolutely amazing to have it, especially when you send it to meetings and stuff like that, to get all the transcripts done really well and labeled with the different names and stuff like that. Otter does it extremely well. So Otter.ai. And then Opus Pro is another really good tool for you to create reels. There's some really cool ones that you can do. You can just put in the link here and just click on that thing, and in 8 or 9 minutes, it'll go through a Google video or a YouTube video, and it'll create all your reels for you straight inside here. And that's super powerful. And also, not only will it do that, it will give you a virality score and it'll tell you how good the title is. So, if you think about AI and how it's going to improve from here onwards, it's absolutely crazy. Also, another one is Adobe Podcast Enhancer. So for all the podcasters out here or anyone that does any recording, it's really cool because you can put in a really bad recording and just enhance it, and it'll sound like it's recorded in the studio, which is actually really powerful. And I cannot tell you how many podcast recordings for clients we had to throw out because we didn't have a tool like this to repair the audio at this speed. I feel like we've got to understand how important things are, and this whole conversation of AI being such an important part of how things are going, because we have to use it so that we can contribute sensibly to the conversation and not ignorantly to the conversation. And when you think about AI, data is everything. Think about the fact that right now the data is skewed. The bias already exists. If you go to any large language model and you put in British English or American or Australian English or real English, the way we learn English, it'll return it back in US English because it's trained on US English. So you see the bias that already exists there. So it's important for us to understand all these different things that are playing out in the AI space. I think that might be it. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, AI Geek. Thanks for listening. Your job doesn't stop here. I want you to lend your voice to the conversation. So you can join those conversations, discussions, new trainings, new recordings, and the rest of the AI Geeks by going to aigeeks.co. Also, share this podcast with a friend, another potential AI geek. Until then, much love.
What's up, everyone? It's Ronsley, and I have recorded this amazing video on all my AI secrets. So if you want to learn and you're just getting started, this is not if you're already a professional and can design super prompts and do really amazing things with prompt engineering and custom GPTs. This is for someone who's a business owner and wants to learn how to augment their intelligence with artificial intelligence, how to save a whole bunch of time, the right tools to use, some cool techniques. There are some tips, tricks, and some ideas in here that you definitely have to understand. I promise you, you're gonna get so much value from this. For more information, and if you want the full video, AI Secrets is the tag. So amplifyai.com/AI Secrets. So amplifyais.com/AI Secrets. Check out the video and I'll talk to you soon. Much love.